For family time, my name is Naoto. I'm Shin's older brother. I'm his older brother. The Ramino double title match event has just ended. Jin Xuanshu is really strong, isn't he? Honestly, it's amazing. It's his original punching power. The reason I like Takei is because his matches are interesting and he wins by knockout. Far. To meet expectations. Everyone, I wonder what kind of person Yan Yan is, and I'm looking forward to it. From Tenshin to Fukai, Amacharon is also in it, so even the Tenshin players might be surprised. There was a time when we used to spar together, but Fukai probably hasn't asked me much recently. But that's not quite right, there's something else.
You know...
So you get to see exciting matches that are really interesting and full of excitement. Every time I say it, it might sound cliche, but honestly, I really don't mind at all. Tenshin is Tenshin and Takei is Takei, so it's funny how they're completely opposite in what they say. But Madroni was really interesting too. Even the match Tenshin had before that. Ashiro, you know Ashiro, maybe Ashiro was just better, so Tenshin couldn't land a clean punch. That's how it felt. That's how it looked. But even so, you can't just win one-sidedly. Tenshin landed 12 rounds, and Takei seemed to be blown away by a single round like a gust of wind.
That's about it.
There's a clear difference here, you know. It's probably because there's a difference in punching power, so Tenshin doesn't really want to face Takei.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Oh, man. I'm not sure if it was really pop or not, but it definitely wasn't a sound that would blow your opponent away. Still, everyone was pretty shaken up, weren't they? Maybe everyone wanted to fly off, so there was a different vibe. Even Takei Senshu seemed like he was blown away by the result. I'm just repeating myself every time, but honestly, I always hope for some kind of consideration from Tenshin. Every time I end up feeling a bit disappointed, but that's just how it is.
Then
It's probably not right to expect too much from someone like that, so that's just how it is. Birds fly in the sky and people try to fly like them. Well, that's just how it feels. It's just intuition, you know. The feeling of stretching out your wings.
To spread your wings.
I'll push and pull, and then I'll absolutely fly through the sky next time.
Hey!
That's how it feels. It's not like I'm always as calm as a Managawa Tenjin, but every time I get chosen as the Tenjin, I feel like I can push through this time. That's what I'm trying to say. Fans are looking forward to it, you know. It's okay to have high expectations, but I wonder how it'll turn out. Are the fans really looking forward to it, or is it actually the opposite, and they're not expecting much?
Expectation.
It's not that they're expecting something, but rather they're looking forward to seeing what happens if nothing special occurs. That's why people are so interested in Takeshi's reaction video and the whole story about the angel, because there's a lot of curiosity about it. It seems like the two of them are different from angels. So I just used that as a theme for the video. I didn't really think about it that deeply. That's right. Since Takei's opponent is weak, most people say the opponent is weak, but that's what Boxing Hard Fans says. That's what I think. He got up 3 times in a row, you know.
Weak-handed.
Even so, it's not like he has the kind of strength to finish it in one go, even for someone like Amachua. I heard that he beat Densha Otoko, so I thought he must be pretty strong. As an amateur, he probably had some real ability, but as a pro, he had 15 fights with no wins. And kickboxing also became a champion in the Rajadamnern Stadium, if I remember correctly. I saw it. That Fukai, that's the usual. Press conference. Are you watching? That's good. Since it's called an interview, it's not really that different, is it?
No. Note.
I asked Chairman Oki, if the person is a kickboxer, will they win? Since that's what happened, I don't think it's wrong. In fact, I understand it very well. Rajadandam is a term used to explain things to people who don't know, and there's a stage called Rajadandam. But if you become a champion, you get a much stronger modifier. As a fighter. Yuttaphong was Rajadanamu's champion, so from Rajadanamu's champion to Amateur boxing to pro boxing. I don't know about the rankings, but he's definitely strong. If I had to say, he's strong. Even if Takei Senshu dominates in one aspect and is strong, I don't think he's the kind of fighter who can absolutely become a world champion. He's not a monster, not a Kamashinu. I don't think he's the kind of person who trains boxing hard at night and then spends his days goofing off or partying. I could tell he was a boxer, so there was definitely a difference in level, but it didn't feel like he was overwhelmingly strong or unbeatable. It's hard to explain, but that's how it was. He wasn't completely dominant. First of all, it's not like he was a total pushover or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. Normally, even if you put him up against someone like Takei, I don't think he'd be out of place. I mean, I think everyone knows that, but it wasn't a match where you could just say, oh, Takeshi's definitely going to win. In the last 2 or 3 matches, Ronnie hasn't really had any easy fights. He managed to win by a step, and after that, things got pretty intense. Oh, right, it wasn't Higa, it was someone else. Higa. After that, who did he fight again? I think it was Yuttaphong or someone like that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a tough match. Chan, since he's fought Peon twice in a row, I think it's understandable if he wants to take a little break here. Normally, when you look at a boxer's career, Yuttaphong isn't necessarily the strongest champion, but as a top contender or driver, it's not strange for him to take a little break here. I thought so too. Maybe it dragged on for a while, so there was that strange feeling, but in a way, it was good as a rematch.
But,
this is a story that happens after this. In Takei's interview, he said he wanted a belt rather than just participating in a title match, but it didn't really sound like he was saying it with all his heart. Maybe he just wants to keep fighting in title matches, and if he gets the belt, he'll defend it there. Oh, well, I don't know. Personally, I'd rather see Tenshin fight Duitsu. That would be more interesting, but since Takei is also an up-and-coming fighter, who knows what will happen. It kind of feels like that, but was the title match with Higa. I forgot, but if Higa is still around, that could be interesting too, so I think that would be fun to watch as well. I don't know, is Higa trying to become a champion or a pioneer or something? I'm not really sure. He doesn't want to retire, right? I wonder why everyone wants to make him a champion so badly. It's kind of strange.
yo, him.
I'm definitely not the kind of person who should be getting a title shot so easily. This is my 3rd challenge, you know. I'm not really the type of person who keeps track of things like that because I just like Higa Senshu. That's a bit embarrassing, so I can't really say it out loud. Takei Senshu, I don't really know how far he's going to go, but his spirit is his biggest weapon. Karamina, it feels like everyone wants to see that. Up until now, there hasn't really been a unification match, I think. But, you know, maybe that's about to change. Do you have a lot of confidence that you can beat Izumi, or is Izumi just that much of a monster? That's what I'm wondering. I don't really know, but it's probably just a matter of timing. Still, I think Tenshin will probably get the belt first. That's just my prediction, though. Takei's overwhelming first-round victories are amazing, but I'm still not sure. Honestly, I can't say for sure that Tenshin will win. I just couldn't really tell from this match. Takei's strength is such that he can change everything with a single blow, but I don't think Tenshin is someone who would be thrown off by that or miss a beat. That's why people wonder if Tenshin can really do it. He doesn't seem to make mistakes, but what I want to say is, after watching this match, my impression of who would win between Tenshin and Takei has completely changed.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say. His defense is good, but I can't really tell how strong Yuttaphong actually is.
Rako.
It's not like he's showing off or anything, but with Yuttaphong, for example, it's not like he's doing something flashy, like a big move. It's more like you just can't figure him out, and I think that's really his unique strength. It feels like everything just ends so quickly. Even if he gets a chance, he just goes straight for it. He doesn't drag things out, so you don't really see anything else. Honestly, in this match, I felt like I couldn't really get involved at all. If you're going up against Takeshi, it's a whole different world. I think this time really proved that he's not just a champion-class fighter who ends things quickly. He's really strong. Yeah, that's for sure. Jesse Muduni, the former champion, and Higa Daigo, the current champion, both seem so strong that it's scary to think they could end things so quickly, even if they're not in the champion class anymore. Honestly, if I had to face them, I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't really know much about them, but after seeing their matches, I realized they're both top-level fighters. Higa Daigo even took the title from Muduni, so if you're fighting in that class, you have to be ready for anything. That's just how it is. Even if a natural-born fighter isn't quite at that level, if they're not at that level, there's a real possibility the match could end quickly. But even if someone like Tenshin is at that level, everyone still wonders if he can really win. That's just how it is. If you go up against someone like Moroni and win decisively, then you can say for sure that you're the real deal. That's what I think. If Takei lands a clean shot, he'll win. No matter what, he'll win. Isn't Tenshin's biggest strength that he doesn't really have any weaknesses? I don't think Takei is a bad matchup for him at all. Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's not really either one, you know. I definitely didn't hit Moroni with a punch, but Moroni's... The way you attack and the way Takei fights are completely different. Even though you get close with a little press, you throw a punch from a certain distance. Takei throws his punch from this distance. He jumps in and throws a hook. If you think you won't get hit, that's where I think Tenshin and Takei are a bad matchup. That's the conclusion I come to after explaining it. Well, I don't think it's that difficult. If you land a single clean shot, you can win against anyone. A single shot won't land, and Tenshin won't get hit cleanly either. That's what it is. They say that this person's strength is also their weakness, but I feel like he's taking that strength and just erasing it. That's the impression I have, so I still feel that way. I feel like Amagokoro's structure is just Amagokoro-like, and all the expectations for something new are gone. Even the interesting traits of Takei Senshu are all gone, and it's just content that doesn't really stand out. So when people say, oh, of course he'll win with this, I honestly think, is that really so? But I don't think it's bad, so I guess that's just how it is. If Tenshin Senshu completely shuts him down, points him out, and wins, I think a lot of people's expectations will be let down. That's what I think. Even with the Maruani fight, it was surprisingly different from what I expected, and I didn't really get close to what I thought would happen. It was totally different from what I expected, so it just felt completely normal. I think he could have just outboxed him and won on points, you know? That's what I thought from the start. I think he's just trying out different ways of fighting to gain experience, not necessarily trying to prove anything. But if you keep doing things half-heartedly, you might end up facing someone like Takei, and that wouldn't be good. If you don't take more risks than necessary, it's not dangerous, but you might not win as easily as usual. That's what I think. I was thinking about it. Even after watching that, I couldn't really see everything, and I wasn't sure if I could go back to that. Is it really okay to just jab, move out of the way, circle around, and fight with a completely boxer-like style? I felt like maybe that's what I should do, but then again, I wasn't sure if I could really pull it off. But that's just the usual Takei's bam, bam, bam. So, I think that's definitely possible. I could probably do it in one round for sure. But when I actually watch it, it doesn't really look like that's what Takei is doing. That part of Takei's style doesn't seem so aggressive, at least from what I've seen live. As for things like tension and clinching, not yet. I didn't really have any particular thoughts or impressions when I watched it. That's all, really. That's it. It ended without showing anything to take Yoshiki's opponent or to the audience, and it seemed like people wanted to see more. There were a lot of comments saying the live stream ended too soon, way too soon, but that's fine. That's just how it is. It was a bit of a disappointing result for Rikishi in that one round, but the match went all the way to the judge's decision. I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing what would happen. That's right. But it went to a decision, didn't it? Nunezu is really strong, isn't he? His jabs never stop. And even though he's aggressive, it doesn't look like he's swinging with all his strength or making big moves. Maybe that's why he doesn't swing wildly, but he still manages to break his opponent's balance. That's why he really stood out as a top-class player. His guarding skills are even better than Martinez's. His pace distribution is also excellent. He keeps up the pace from the first round all the way to the 12th round. He never seemed to slow down even once, not at all. His pressure, punch count, combinations, feints, defense, and footwork never changed at all, so he maintains a truly stable strength. Even the way he fought didn't seem rushed at all, and from the first to the third round, he probably took the initiative, but he didn't seem flustered at all. Normally when you keep chasing, Chikureshi keeps moving from side to side, so I knew that would tire him out. Ryumisu kept aiming, and just kept popping out punches, but he didn't really try to hit with full power. He just kept going. He kept poking with body straight punches from the upper, just tapping away. He kept chipping away, little by little, just wearing him down steadily. From the 5th round to the 6th round, I started to think maybe I could do this, but Sandberg was still moving really well. That's the kind of fighter he is. He just doesn't give up, and I could tell he wasn't going to let me finish him. I thought the same thing, that I couldn't finish him either. He kept moving, circling around, and matching my counters, trying to find a way. The fight won't continue if you get cut or tired. If you want to make it work and keep your expectations up, but it's difficult, time just keeps passing by and the rounds keep piling up. I started to feel frustrated. Well, I felt the same way, you know. Can Naoya Inoue really make it as a super featherweight? I wasn't sure, you know, before the fight with Carl Frampton, but now it's starting to seem pretty tough for him. That guy, it's tough for him, isn't it? I feel the same way. Super feather. I don't really know much about the top class champions, but I think there are probably a lot of champions who are just ridiculously strong. That's just my guess, though. Well, that's how it is, I guess. Nunes also seemed unfazed, you know. Even when Guard tried to get in close, she just handled it like it was nothing, just parried or flowed with it. And even when she did get hit a few times, she didn't really show any reaction at all. She just kept her expression the same, like it didn't bother her at all. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? I've heard that Poker Face is amazing, but I haven't really looked into it that much. That's what I've heard, though.
1.
Even if you discard a 5 of characters, you can still steal the pace and return 5 tiles. So knowing your own strengths and choosing to make full use of them is the best. I think that's the true strength of a skilled player. He was knocked down in the 12th round, but made a comeback and won. There are matches like that, especially when you're fighting in your opponent's hometown, so he's an amazing athlete. There was a difference in level. I can't really say there was a big difference in level. Honestly, it's a bit of a shame. Mr. Yubiki also appeared on this channel and responded as a strong athlete, but at that level, the world is just really tough. He was really solid physically. Yunesu, the athlete.
Strong.
He's the type of athlete with a really solid body, right? I like Ryunesu. I really do. But, well, I also like bulldozer types, but just because someone looks tough doesn't mean they give off that bulldozer vibe. For example, I think Martinez has more of that bulldozer feel, maybe because of his physique. Martinez has that aggressive presence that you can sense at a glance, but Ryunesu doesn't really give off that impression. Yeah, he doesn't just go wild or swing recklessly, not at all. It's not like he's just swinging randomly or attacking without a plan. Of course, there are times when he swings and misses, but that's only because his opponent dodges so well that he can't help it. It's not like he's in a position to counterattack or anything, so it's not really a problem. He's ignoring the punch completely. My impression is that he didn't lose his composure and he kept up that pace all the way through 12 rounds. I think that's really impressive. And honestly, I like that about him. That's not like Bulldozer, who fights with instinct. He's not an aggressive maiden, and he's not a wild Martinez either. He's different from those types. It feels like Battle VF, you know? He's like a mini Battle VF, that's what I think. He's definitely at the level of a light heavyweight. But you know, it's not that easy to knock out your opponent like that, especially at the world level. Up until now, he's been winning all his fights, right? So, yeah. I also felt that the key players were just that strong. That's the impression I got from those two matches. It's a shame about Riki, but I'm looking forward to Takei's future. Not so much Nikki, but when I saw Tsutsumu ringside, what came to my mind was Bandam Q, Rochan, and Pion. Tachi, Takei, Nishida, Nakaya, all of them have similar faces, don't they? It's hard to tell who's who. Even in the fighter space here, it's obvious. This is the face of a fighter. That's how it feels.
He is...
I don't know.
He looks like an extremely ordinary average person, someone you might pass by without even noticing, but somehow there's something a little off about him, or maybe his face looks a bit worn out. It's hard to tell, but that's the impression I get from the screen. Maybe the person who picked him for this role has a pretty unique sense, but he's actually quite a fighter, isn't he? Takei isn't like that at all. Nishida and Nakaya are kind of like that too, but Tsutsumi really stands out as a tough, gritty fighter. Maybe that's why he has so many fans. That's probably why Tsutsumi's matches are so interesting, even from a viewer's perspective.
That's right.
To be honest, I think Takei is the same way. If one of them goes down, a match between those two would definitely be interesting. Nikkei is also interesting in his own way, so if we're talking about the excitement of the match, then Enokawa is a bit of an outlier. Yeah, but I really want to see him take the belt. I wonder what will happen if he takes the belt and then faces Takei in a unification match. That kind of flow is exciting and it's fun to imagine, but honestly, I want to see it as soon as possible. I don't want to wait. I really don't want to wait. Even if it's a unification match between champions, I still get really excited about it. For me, even if it's next time or after Tenshin wins his next fight, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I just don't really want to see that match, that's all. I think the match with Tenshin Kamimura would be much more interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't get what's so special about Takeshi Kamimura, that's what I think. Well, there's that kick and all, but if you really think about it, it's not like Takei Tenshin's first knockout was anything special. If Tenshin lands that real counter type, I honestly have no idea what would happen, to be honest. Isn't that right? When I think about Masaki, I feel like he's more of a technical fighter compared to Bikyo. It's more like Buki becomes an angel. And when he becomes an angel, that's why Buki and Tenji become angels. That's why. Even if there's a style, it's really the opposite. Even for Seki, it's totally the opposite. Is that so for you too, with that strong grip? If you think about it in terms of fighter aggressiveness, Seki isn't the kind of champion who goes beyond the limits. If you think about defense. When it comes to Tenjin, if you think about it that way, I honestly feel like it's actually the opposite. That's why, for me, I'm not fixated on Tenjin alone. Even if it's a Tenjin champion, it can be interesting, but it's not like that's the most fun match for me. So I don't have any particular desire to see it right now. On the contrary, I think it's fine if it doesn't happen. If that's the case, then just scrap that plan altogether. If Kaota's there, I think it's fine. On the contrary, it's fine. Isn't it funny? If a player comes who can defeat Takei, then we can expect something from the Conessor lover. That's what's really interesting. Honestly, more than Tenshin Taki, I'm looking forward to Conessor lover's Tenshin. I think so too. That's why Tenshin Takei is so interesting. It's just a practice match, so I was wondering how to put it, but it doesn't really feel like they're following the flow of actually having that match. So I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea if the Tenshin pickers didn't challenge as champions, but just went for it. If that's the case, then just do it right away. That's fine. If we can't do it more than once, then I'd rather have it as a unification match. I think about Jinesu. So that's why it keeps getting more prosperous. What is it, Tenshi Takei? You keep saying you want to see it right away, so I was just wondering. Well, yeah, that's true. But, you know, just because it's popular now doesn't mean it won't change later, even if you wait. Even if Tenshi becomes a champion and fights against Takei, the excitement probably won't change that much. Both of them have their own fighting styles, and it's not like those will change just because they face each other. No matter who wins, the excitement will keep rising. But as Shin says, it's interesting to see how the others will react too. Matchups are really important, you know? Even if you make up a story, fans will find it interesting and get into it. But in reality, it's more about what actually happens. That's why it's interesting, because everyone is thinking about it and you can say what you really feel. Even if the match doesn't happen for a year or two, it's fine. As long as these two can speak honestly, that's what matters. Even if you do something like a wordplay or a lion, people will pay attention, but maybe it's better not to do it. Sometimes doing the opposite is actually better. Even if you unify all four groups, honestly, it's better to stretch it out until you unify all four. The ones who will benefit the most are the two-group unified champions, Takei and the other two-group unified champion. If you do it with sincerity, you'll understand if it's real or not, so belts don't really matter. Just saying you have one doesn't mean anything, so it's not that important. Wanting to wait 4 years, that's the pattern that would get the most hype, but no matter how you look at it, that's just not realistic. The time in between is long, but things are getting more exciting. Still, it's just talk, and I don't really like the way it's all just talk. If it gets too drawn out, that's no good, but as long as it's doable, I want to keep building things up and have a match. But if this topic keeps coming up every time, I don't think it's going to happen. The more it gets hyped up, the more the tension rises. This was also really random, and if you don't like it, that's fine. Well, maybe the packet is... That's how it feels, but...
Something like that.
A big fight like that is the end. Maybe it was just that feeling of excitement, or maybe it was because things were going so well, but my expectations kept getting higher and higher. That's all it was. Boxing is like that, you know. It's long, really long, and sometimes it feels like there's no end in sight. That's why timing is so important.
The end.
In the end, everyone gets excited. If you don't do it in front, it won't work. So you have to wait. Tenshin and Takei are... and even after doing this for 2 or 3 years, I don't feel like I've gotten used to it at all. In fact, it feels the opposite. That's all from me. Mr. Ryu, do you enjoy living in Takei without any worries? I want to see people naturally as themselves, not as someone they're pretending to be. If you feel the same way, please let me know in the comments. Also, please tell me your channel name and your favorite vitamins. I'm not really recommending anything to everyone, but when it comes to vitamins, I think multivitamins are good. But if you don't usually take supplements, it's probably better not to force yourself. Also, for people who drive, you should get insurance, but that's health insurance, not vitamins. Vitamins flow through your body, that's all. If you're only using the vitamins you really need, your body will function just fine, so you don't have to worry about taking multiple vitamins. It feels more like maintenance. If you don't think of it as maintenance, you might get confused, but it's really nothing to worry about. It's better to have trace nutrients, so if you don't get enough of them, people will end up lacking them. That's right. If you don't get enough of what you absolutely need, then you won't have enough. It's impossible to get everything you need just from food. Impossible. It's really impossible. There are all sorts of colors, for example, of vitamin colors. Maybe just vitamins aren't enough, or maybe that's not it at all. I don't really know. Not getting enough vitamins. If you get tested and they tell you that you don't have enough vitamins, then you can start taking vitamins, right? Even if you take a lot of multivitamins, your body will flush out what it doesn't need and only absorb what it does. That's the special thing about vitamins. So it's not necessarily convenient, you know. I usually take them before I go to bed because I tend to forget in the morning. So if I make it a habit to take them before bed, I won't forget. That's why I don't really stress about taking them strictly or training myself to remember. This is absolutely recommended. I really think it's a good idea. So everyone, please try to get your vitamins and power from a well-balanced diet as much as possible. Normally, it's amino acid protein and citrulline. I introduce this every time, but it's really good. So please give it a try. Also, please make sure to smash that channel subscribe button and smash that button as well. Let's meet again. Bye-bye.